Sometimes if you really want to understand how good certain news is, you have to understand the bad news first. And so, unfortunately, I want to start there. But I do. I want to start there with our lesson today. We have to go back to the very beginning to kind of realize where this whole situation came from. And we're going to go back to the Garden of Eden. Now, in the Garden of Eden, what happened? We turned our backs on God. God gave us a guideline, and he said, these are the lines you have to stay within, and when you do that, you get to live in perfection. We essentially said, no thanks. I mean, Adam chose, but if we're honest, we would have chose the same thing. We chose to turn our backs on God, and what happened next? What happened to us? What did we feel? We realized that we were naked, right? And I think this is a connection, a symbolic demonstration of understanding our sinfulness, because they realized they were naked and they felt shame. Sin causes us to feel shame. Sin causes us to want to retreat within ourselves. It causes us to want to stay away from other people because of the shame that comes from it. So Adam and Eve felt shame. And then what did God do next? This is really neat. God sacrificed an animal. He sacrificed a sinless creature on behalf, for the sake of, let me say, Adam and Eve. He then gave them the option to, well, it just says that he clothed them with it. Now, I like to think that he gave them the option. It's like, here are these robes, do you want to put them on? You can now be clothed in something that will hide your shame, that will hide your nakedness, that will hide your imperfections. Now, this is the really cool part, is that it is such a foreshadowing for the cross, for what God did on the cross. You see, you don't have to look far to understand that we live in a broken world. We have received this Adamic nature, the nature that Adam gave us, and it is a sinful nature. It is a nature that leads to death. It is a nature that leads to condemnation. It is a nature that leads to selfishness, bitterness, anger, sadness. All the brokenness that we see in the world is really the result of the Adamic nature that we have received. So condemnation came into the world through Adam. But God had a plan. In the same way that he clothed Adam and Eve, he did the same thing for us. He sent Jesus, who lived a sinful, spotless, perfect life. And he sacrificed himself for us so that we could take that sacrifice upon ourselves. Galatians 3:27 says that we can be clothed with Christ. So even though in our nakedness, in our sinful nakedness, we can feel shame, that's not the way that God wants to end it. He has now given us a way out. He has given us Christ's righteousness for us to be able to take upon ourselves. Let's take a look at Colossians 3:9 and 10 as I flip there. Do not lie to each other, since you have taken off your old self with its practices. Okay, here we go. This is the beautiful verse. So we have taken off our old self. Now that is the nature that we have received from Adam. We have the ability to take that off. Remind ourselves that that's not who we are anymore. We aren't that old self. That's not who we are. Take that off, Paul reminds us. And put on the new self, which is being renewed in the knowledge and image of its creator. It is being renewed. Now, Josh, one of our leaders, reminded me that is a perfect tense, but it's also a continuous tense, meaning that it is already perfect, but it is a process as well. which is really, really neat if we think about it. Like he mentioned clothes. So at the beginning of this day, this shirt went all the way down to my arm. Now I'm 6'4", so not many shirts do. But as the day goes on, it shrinks in and the clothes don't fit as well and they lose their elasticity. And clothes just don't fit as well over time or they get all ratty. But the clothes that Jesus gives us fit better as time goes on. And if we think about that in the spiritual sense, it makes total sense because it's hard to grasp the fact that we can be clothed with Christ. Let's be honest. That we are being clothed in His righteousness, that His nature is becoming our nature, that it doesn't blemish. That can be hard to wrestle with. You can say, okay, I've become a new creation, but I don't really experience the fruit of that. Well, the application piece is to continually put it on. And in reminding yourself, this isn't that's who I was, but I'm not that anymore. I am becoming more like Christ daily. This is a really good mantra to say to yourself. I'm becoming more like Christ every day. And as you do that, the clothes begin to fit better and better because you're understanding it more and you're believing it more and you're living into it and you're seeing it in your life. That is why these clothes continue to fit better and better. We can talk about it. So and lastly, I just want to encourage you to wear these clothes. In the metaphoric sense, I want to encourage you to wear these clothes every day, to put them on first thing in the morning, to remind yourself of who you are, of who God made you to be, and of who you are becoming in Him. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. There will be questions in the comments below. I really would like to encourage you to go through the questions as a family.